Nope, that's the vibe. All right, everybody, welcome into Town Hall. What is going on? Hopefully you enjoy this new presentation. If you're on YouTube where this is going to be posted, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you comment down below. If you're in here in the chat, you can see here, go ahead and comment in the Town Hall chat and say a 1 in the chat if you're feeling good, feeling great. Put a 2 in the chat if you need a little prayer in your life. Put a 3 in the chat if you're like, man, I am going through it. Tyrone needs a little prayer. Shoot some prayers up for Tyrone and for everybody up in here, okay? I decided to switch it up a little bit today because, hey, you know, folks have been telling me they need to hear the message that's inside of this town hall. So I'm looking right at you and saying, what is going on? For those people that said, hey, you know, I don't know what's going on with you, Dr. B, but like, are you good? Like, you've been posting some deep stuff on social and I need to hear the information. And also I want to clear up as well. Like, this is not a one-trick pony type of thing, okay, up in here. That means that we are thought leaders. That means that you can do anything that you would like to do. That means that you have the power to evolve and to change. And man, I just had a good conversation with my good friend Owen. And that was a good conversation. He was like, man, like, I need the giggles. You need the giggles? Turn up the giggles, man. Thing is gonna do it for me. There it is. Is that the Alvin the Chipmunk for you? Is that the Alvin the Chipmunk? Got what I need. All right. So one trick pony means that for me personally, you've been seeing a lot of shifts and changes inside of our community. And nothing's changing here. I always say that you can do anything that you would like. You can expand your mind. You can decide to do different things. And as long as you communicate that to people that, hey, I am growing, I'm evolving, there's a mindset to develop and to grow in your overall journey of life, that is cool. Now, if you decide to have a season where you are an expert in a certain field or someone knows you for a certain thing, but never let that define you as to that is you, that is who you are. So no, I am not the credit guy. No, I am not the life coach NLP guy. No, I am not just this new stock guru or whatnot. No, I have skills and we have skills in this community to where we are evolving, changing, and able to handle anything that we have coming for us. Now, I will say that my premise is to serve thought leaders and to help them develop and grow into the best versions of themselves. That is overall what this Leverage Club is about. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you are wondering how to get inside of this club and how to get inside this town hall live so you can be a part of what we got going on, there'll be some links down below. And if you're in here right now, I appreciate you so much. Billy's already typing. He's like, man, what's going on? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. If all the sound is good, all the sound is good. All right, cool. I need that played now. Yeah. Wherever you are for just a second, if you just vibe out for me, okay? I need to raise the energy up in here. On the agenda today, we, as always, we go over. We've got what's going on in our economy. We want to make sure that we understand how you're growing and evolving. If there's any credit questions or if there's any business questions right now, you're more than welcome to throw them in the chat. We will answer those. I never shy away from making sure that people know that this is a spiritual community. This is a community of faith-based people, whether you believe in the universe or you have a God that you believe in, which is who I believe in. So we will read off my daily devotional that I'm going through this year. And then also the daily stoic, which I believe is very powerful each and every year. Now, every word that I say or that I read is not true. It's not fact. In here, what we do is we spur on thoughts and we challenge those thoughts and we make sure that we look at those things that we're thinking and bringing them out to life. And you take what you need in serving you today. So I just want to make sure that whatever you hear today is not fact. And it also shouldn't be your moral compass and North Star. It should be something that guides you along your way. All right, cool. Let's read off our daily devotion. If you could put creed in the chat, you could put creed in the chat. This is what we believe in here. This is something I read off each and every Thursday, or each and every Thursday. So put creed in the chat for me. I'll read it off for us. Something that we've been talking through, and hopefully people have embodied and start to challenge for themselves. And maybe you've made a creed for yourself in your own community, right? Cool. Leverage Club. We stand for, I am a powerful leader, powerful thought leader. I choose abundance and joy over fear and uncertainty. Every day, I am empowered to be just 1% better and maximize my zone of genius. My unwavering spirit will shake the world. And today, I have the power and permission to show up unapologetically me. So if that is you, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And yeah. Let's see what Billy, feeling that Creed vibe, Awesome. All right, let's jump into our agenda for today. Let's start off with our daily devotional and just a slight little word here. Okay. All right, if everyone was wondering what devotional I'm reading off of, you can see here that it's called Walking. Let me see if that'll focus. There you go. It's probably inversed, Walking with God by David Jeremiah. So you're more than welcome to pick that up, or look it up for yourself. All right, February 15th. Hopefully everyone had a great day yesterday with the love of your life, or maybe you just had some love for yourself and whoever you have as a partner. It's just a day of love, and every day should be a day of love. But however you celebrated yesterday, hopefully you had a good time. All right, February 15th, watch and pray. When he came to the place, Jesus said to them, pray that you may not enter into temptation. Luke 22:40. In summary, in this letter to the Ephesians, the Apostle Paul uses the armor of a Roman soldier as a metaphor for the believer's spiritual armor: belt, helmet, breastplate, sword, shoes, and shield. But Paul includes something in the Christian's preparation for spiritual battle that he did not draw from the Roman military: prayer. After describing the armor, Paul adds, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. Ephesians 6:18. That prayer language mirrors what Jesus had to say to his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane on the night of his arrest and trial. Jesus had just warned Peter about the coming temptation to deny him, and the disciples about the opposition they would face. As the hours of his trial grew near, Jesus admonished the disciples twice to pray lest they succumb to the temptations to deny him and flee from persecution. Waiting until the battle is underway is waiting too late to fight. Fighting begins on our knees as we call upon God for victory over temptation. In summary, Christian, seek not repose, cast thy dreams of ease away. Thou art in the midst of foes, watch and pray. That's by Charlotte Elliott. So take that with how you please. I do ask everyone in here, do you need a prayer? Do you need a calling up? Do you need just someone to love on you, whatever it is? So however you receive that, watch and pray, look at the things around you, be grateful for them, or what you have, but don't be so grateful that you start to sink in your suckiness and your despair and all the things that might be happening right in this moment and season. All right. Let's go over the Daily Stoic. Daily Stoic, February 15th. You need to see what that looks like. There you go. All right. February 15th, only bad dreams. Clear your mind and get a hold of yourself as when awakened from sleep and realizing it was only a bad dream upsetting you. Wake up and see that that's where is just like those dreams. This is by Marcus Aurelius in Meditations. In summary of Only Bad Dreams, the author Raymond Chandler was describing most of us when he wrote in the letter to his publisher, I never looked back, although I had many uneasy periods looking forward. Thomas Jefferson once joked in a letter to John Adams, How much pain have cost us evils which we have never happened? And Seneca would put it best: there is nothing so certain in our fears that's not yet more certain in the fact that most of what we dread comes to nothing. I'll repeat that last part again. There's a certain fact that most of what we dread comes to nothing. Many of the things that upset us, the Stoics believe, are a product of the imagination, not reality. Like dreams, they are vivid and realistic at the time, but once we come out of it, just a dream. We never stop to think and say, does this make any sense? No, we just go along with it. The same goes with our flights of anger or fear or extreme emotions. Getting upset is like continuing the dream while you're awake. The thing that provoked you wasn't even real, it was your reaction that was real. And so from the fate comes real consequences, which is why we need to wake up right now instead of creating this nightmare. What I took away from that is we're in this season of passions and emotions, looking to see how each and every thought that we have, we can start to rewind and reframe it and start to look at it and say, is this real? It may be real to us right in the moment because it's actually happening, but is it real enough to where it's truth? And many of the things that we think about each and every day, including myself, it's not true. It's just happening. It's happening for us. It's happening with us in the moment. It's happening for some may think to us. It's just happening. It just is, right? And that age old saying, it is what it is, right? But it is. And that shrugging off a lot of times can be dangerous, but also it can be very powerful because we begin to shrug off and brush off those things that really aren't true, that the dreams that we're having and the things that we're going through, whether good in this season or everything that we do or everything I talk about is not always this negative connotation. You can be on your high horse, and there are people that have been in good seasons and they don't want to fumble the bag. So there's wounds of thoughts that just go on and on and on and on saying, man, can I sustain this? Right? Like I have a family to take care of. I have people that are looking towards me for guidance. Can I sustain this? Right? Am I having some sort of imposter syndrome? Is there a fraud out there that I don't know about? Right? Am I doing people right? Right? Is there more that I could be doing? Is there over deliverance? And you may even look at it as, am I insecure? And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm just human being. And when I show that that's true, that I'm just only can be me in the moment at the moment in time that I have at whatever season I'm in, that's all I can do. And I can do the best that I can with what I have, but it should be striving and at all times for that excellence, right? That can I get better that 1% each day, right? If it was I'm improving my credit, or if it's I have good credit, I want to sustain it. If it's I have a business and it's not going through a good season right now, then how can I improve it? How can I show people that it's valuable? If it is in the trading sector, in the investing sector, okay, I lost a little bit of money today, but did I manage my risks very well? Cool, that's a positive. Cool, let me wake up tomorrow and do something better, right? Missed a play. All right, cool. There's going to be another play, right? So each and every one of those thoughts should be reverted as much as possible into this passionate way of thinking to continue forward, right? Because we're only one man, one woman, right? We can't do everything. And fortunately and unfortunately, for many of us in here, as I believe, we want to do the right thing by people, right? If you're in here right now, or if you're listening to this, um, you want to do people right. You want to make sure that people love on you and that everyone is with you and for you, but that's not the case, right? And once you accept that that's not the case, you can move on with so much power and authenticity that, hey, this is just me. You don't like it, you don't like it, right? I can't do any different. I can't please everybody, but if I'm happy, if I'm fulfilled, if I'm living, people are going to see that, right? And that's why I want to turn on the camera today, that you can see that I am living, right? But sometimes you got to get down in the dirt and you've got to figure out, man, like how can I improve? What's the next version of me? If I keep seeing the same version of me over and over and over and over again, people are comfortable with that. Are we too good to not be uncomfortable that this person can't change and grow and evolve and I should be growing with them? If I'm watching somebody and they're doing the same thing over and over again, that makes me feel comforting, right? But I shouldn't feel that way, right? You have your favorite athlete, you have your favorite actress, you have your favorite actor, you have your favorite movie, and you want that sequel to come out, right? And you want that sequel to say, man, it needs to be better than the first, or whatever it might be. And you're just like, well, there's new actors and there's new people, and they should have played this and they should have done this, right? People got lives, right? I know we do it a lot of times. Me and Ashton, we watch shows and someone gets killed off the show and we're like, dang, like, why'd they have to let them go so fast? We love them, but they're growing, right? Um, it was so intriguing. Lately I've been watching a lot of Uncle Shannon, a lot of Uncle Shannon, Uncle Sharp, on his podcast, which I love. And I think, some of the conversations in the comedic field with Monique and with Cat Williams, I thought they were very intriguing because it showed just the evolution. And I thought Monique's was so powerful because it showed the disparity in the pay system in Hollywood of Black women and also just women in general. And I thought it was beautiful to see that it was exposed that, hey, Taraji P. Henson was paid less than in I don't want to quote anything incorrectly, but it was showed that she was paid 50 to maybe 100 grand max, right, for her role in The Color Purple. And that film made well over 8 figures. So you're looking at that and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And we look at folks that want more out of life and they want to be valued and they raise their prices and they're like, why is this person raising their prices? And why is this person evolving and changing? Why is there something new coming out? And why don't they just keep doing what they've been doing? It's because it's evolution. Who doesn't want to grow? Who wants to do the same thing for 50 years? So if we can all look at that and have an open mindedness and say, man, what season am I in? And as long as I'm fulfilled and happy and I'm communicating to others and to the world that, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm growing and this is where I stand and these are my morals and my values and the things that I'm centered on and grounded on. That's all you can do, right? So it's very interesting this season. Put a 1 in the chat if you're feeling it. If you're feeling it, if you're receiving what I'm saying, if you're receiving what I'm saying, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. I really hope this recording's working. So if it is, be grateful. I'm recording on Zoom and yeah, I'm recording this screen. So hopefully the audio's coming in and everything. So we'll see. Season of continual development. I love that, Tyrone. I'm excited for our conversation on Saturday or Friday, whichever way we do it. All right. Cool. What questions does anyone have? Maybe in the chat, maybe something to cover. I always like to make sure that you can throw out anything that you would like. Throw out anything that you would like. Cool. We good? Awesome. Something that's been going on in our community. Couple of things. I always like to do a segment inside of our community to where we are understanding how we're growing. How do you deal with FOMO? Appreciate you, Ben. I appreciate you. FOMO I'll put it in context of just overall because there's more people here. If I have a fear of missing out on stocks, right? If I have a fear of missing out on just life in general or opportunities that I might have had that year or whatnot, first I try to give myself grace and acknowledgement. I always try to do that as much as possible. That what better could you have done is the question I typically ask. What more could you have done? What better could you have done? And then it allows me to improve because there's going to be another opportunity right around the corner, especially with stocks, right? It's going to come back to me in some way. There's going to be, I can make money anywhere in the stock market. So I always give myself grace and acknowledgement that, hey, what could you have done in that moment? And also, what did I do well in that moment? Cool, you saw it, right? That's in and of itself. A lot of times we miss opportunity. We don't even see it. That's the worst fear of missing out. It's like, dang, nobody told me, right? No one told me. Why wasn't I aware? Like, how did the wealthy, or how did anyone that I'm watching, or how did they know? Like, how did they get the information? Like, that's why I believe information is so powerful, because a lot of times we just don't know. We're ignorant, right? We just don't know. So that is the worst fear of missing out for me personally. The second is, if I knew and I just missed out, then that's more so a piece of opportunity that I can grow from. I saw it, great. What did I not do? I didn't take action. Well, why? That's a deeper feeling. I was fearful of losing money, right? I didn't feel like I had enough. I didn't feel like I was worthy of a 500% increase, 1,000% increase. And I'm not talking to you directly, Ben. Just answer the question. So there's some sense of deeper emotion that's going on there that I typically try to uncover, that I still go through, right? Personally. So I get the emotion, to sum it up, that I try to evoke at the end of that process is a sense of joy. So you might hear me in our community a lot of times laughing off things, right? Like, dang, like I missed that. God, man, like that's awesome that you got that credit card. That's awesome that you got a new client. That's awesome that you won, right? Because I try to evoke that someone won, and it was a great move. It was a great business opportunity. It was a great speaking engagement. Maybe someone got invited to a speaking engagement, they got the deal, and I thought I could have slammed that stage more than they did, right? The age old saying that congrats to Josh and the Penrod family, or anyone that was going for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Hey, I would have loved to see Baltimore and Detroit. I thought that would have been a battle of the cities that just been going through it. Okay. But there was that saying that, hey, like my team would have done that. Like FSU, Florida State, that should have gotten in, they thought they should have gotten in the top 4, right? And my team could have done better, right? We always feel like we should be in the game. But maybe we ask ourselves, maybe God or maybe the universe was actually preparing us and saying, man, I didn't want you to have that one just yet. That client wasn't ready for you yet. Right? That stage wasn't ready for you yet. That field wasn't ready for you yet. You've got more improvement to do. And when that opportunity, that next one comes, you'll see that you were ready to handle, not to the fullest extent, because we're never in perfection, but you were able to handle exactly that moment that you received. So yeah, you're welcome, Ben. You're welcome, man. Appreciate the question. I've transitioned from my W-2 and I'm trying to set my schedule. Any advice? Man, congrats, Eugene. Look at Eugene, man. That's why that man's been so silent. Congrats, brother. Put a fire emoji in the chat for Eugene. Put a fire emoji in the chat for Eugene on transitioning out of his W-2. I know that was a goal of his for a while. That's absolutely amazing, man. You got to share that win in the wins channel or whatnot after this. Got to share that in the wins channel, man. That is absolutely amazing. But you were wrong. Yeah, I used to miss. Sorry, I just got in the mood for that. To answer the question, the first thing that I do is, it's not a schedule thing for me, Eugene. And I don't mean to get deep, unapologetically here. It's not a schedule thing. The transition out of a W-2, or and maybe Billy can agree, and maybe some others that have transitioned fully out, Josh and Megan most recently, right? Is that when you transition out, you've got to have an internal belief in yourself that I'm going to make this happen. Because you can have savings, you can say, I have enough to handle me through the next 6 months and all those things. But when it comes down to it, it's a level of belief, right? That I have more power, right, than my company that I used to work for saw in me. And when I reinvigorate that emotion that, man, I am dope, right? I am that dude. That to me will carry people so much further because there's going to be hardships. There's going to be a schedule, that you set in place, and there's going to be routine. But to be honest with you, there's some times where you guys you don't see it realistically. The only person that sees it is Ashton. I'll go in there and I'll sit on the couch. I'm like, damn, like it's hard. You know what I mean? Like shit's hard. I'll just sit on the couch and I'll look out the window and I'm like, yeah. So I can have the perfect routine, right? And I can have all these things in place. And if I'm not invigorated and excited for the day that I've got something on the docket, you'll just sit back and I'll sit in this chair and just rock and just look. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing that I would respond is make sure that each and every day you're excited, right? And a lot of times the excitement doesn't come from a result of a financial means, right? Like, man, I didn't get paid today, right? Or it wasn't as much as I thought. Or I've got to wait another day and another day and another day for things to kind of come into fruition, right? Maybe I'm negotiating deals, right? I know Billy goes through that a lot. Like you're negotiating deals throughout, and it's like, man, like when's that closure going to happen, right? So that's the first piece. As far as a more masculine structure standpoint, right? For me, I try to separate, and this is going to be evolution because people work differently. I work more like I've tried almost everything. I've gotten up and I've meditated and I've gone on walks and I've sat on the couch for a minute. But to me personally, I do better when I have a brief moment of that in the morning, but I get the mind working actively. So the first hour of my day, I take about 15 to 20 minutes of just prayer, meditation, sitting. I don't need 2 hours. I don't need to, no offense, I don't need to go into woo woo mode for 2 hours, right? I want to get to it. And that's the way that invigorates me. Sitting around and doing that type of work doesn't get me fueled, right? It actually allows me to sit more in the things that I'm not doing versus actually doing it and making shit happen. You know what I mean? So I give 15, 20 minutes. Throughout the rest of that hour, I begin researching for the day. So I typically read an article or I look at positive Twitter or I, look at stocks or look at news, positive news, right? I'll scan those things. I'll work for the first 2 hours of the day, right? And then I'll take a breather, right? Whether that breather I choose to go to the gym, right? I choose to sit around. I choose to go on a walk. I choose to call some friends. I know I've called some of you in here before, like just during my lunch hour. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, let's chat for a minute. Right. So I've done that. Like, that's why I just got off the phone with Owen, right? And just chat. Right. And then the latter half of the day, right? For me personally, about this time, about 1 to 3 to 4, where I'm typically doing more creative work. Right. So that's when you'll see me maybe creating content. I'll come up with content ideas. I'm trying to think about what town hall might look like today. Let me turn on the camera. Let me get the roadcaster set up. Let me get the mic. Let me get the lighting in the back, all those things. So I'll think about that stuff in the afternoon. And in the evening, I'm typically reviewing my day. Right. So I'll go over in preparation for the next day. So whatever I'm working on, whether it's, hey, is there any credit updates that I need to be mindful of tomorrow? Are there any client work that I need to, look and follow up with people, like just rounding out the day like you would at the office, right? Just making sure that when you wake up in the morning, that everything is, you've got a sense of how the day is going to go. So I'm not too much into, time blocking. I'm more into just having creative space and putting about 4 blocks in the day for how I want to utilize those. So if I want to utilize my afternoon work hour to go to the golf course, I'll do that. So from 1 to 3, you've seen me do it before. I'm like, I'm going to the golf course today. Like that's my creative mode, right? So I don't know if that helps you, Gene, but maybe it provides some perspective as to how I've evolved over the years. And it all depends on what season you're in, right? There's some seasons, like I told, some of y'all in the mentorship and some of you that I've worked I've been paying this damn phone bill longer than you've been alive, and I'm still waiting. You've got to believe it. What about the days you aren't excited? You've got to believe in you and be grounded in who you and the gifts. This man Tyrone, he's like, man, I've been waiting for my call. um, for some of you that I've told, I'll be frank with you, and social gets me. Social really gets me. I got to step back a lot of times. So I got some messages from some of you like, hey, like, I love the content you've been creating. It seems like you've been kind of in your flow mode and chilling and vibing, more lifestyle content. Because as of late, what I've been realizing is that there's no perfect methodology. And to be real with you, shit's hard, right? Like you choose you over everything else. There's no like perfect 9 to 5. There's no 9 to 6. You can think all about that, but your mind is constantly on what you need to do next. And that's the life you've chosen. So if you've got to pull an all-nighter and go back to that to get it done, you got to get it done. Right. And that's what I believe is a lot of times it needs that extra push. Like you need to get that stuff done. You need to be up. Like the other night, I was recording a training video, and y'all don't know, like I recorded that thing 5 times because my camera went dead. My roadcaster went out. The light went off because it wasn't charging. Like I recorded that thing 5 times, right? And I didn't eat dinner until 9 o'clock. Now, some people might say that's not healthy, but to me, I've already done the health generative things throughout the day. I've drinking my juice, I've drinking my smoothie, I've gone on a walk, I've done the gym. So if my creative time is in the evening and it needs to get done, you need to have a partner, you need to have someone in your corner, you need to have other people that understand that grind because most people don't. They don't understand because it's like you work for yourself. You should be able to like go to bed at 8 o'clock. It's like, no, like I can do that some days, but some days stuff got to get done because if not, it's not going to get done. I can't put it on the assistant. I can't put it on the employee. I can't put it on the VA that I hired. I can't put it on anybody else. I've got to get it done. So it just got to get done. So I know you resonate very much with that, Eugene, and other folks in here as well. And if you don't resonate with that, I would charge you and challenge you that it's never going to be a perfect just flow of things. You've got to be adaptable, right? And when you're adaptable, that's when, in my opinion, you always know that there's going to be a valley coming. There's going to be a mountaintop that you can celebrate. And when you understand that, you're good, right? Just make sure there's flow and balance throughout the entirety of what you're trying to do, because that's how you can sustain, right? It's very difficult to sustain such at a high level for so long, in my opinion, right? But what you can do is say, I'm damn good at what I do, and there's going to be low seasons, right? Tiger Woods, that man went through how many surgeries, came back, won the Masters. No one thought he could do it, thought he was done, but what was he doing? He was practicing at home behind the scenes. It's like, oh, y'all thought I was out. You thought I was done. You thought I was broken, right? So many examples of that. Whoever you want to use as example, whether it's a sports reference, a TV reference, a movie reference, whatever it is, you thought someone was down and out, but all they were doing was creating behind the scenes, is just because that's life, right? So I'm like, what I do, I'm getting traction, but it's crazy for me. I be up all night sometimes. It's wild, man. To be honest with you, at times I miss that grind, because the happiest times when I first left in 2017, and for some, you've been doing this longer than I have, but when I first left in 2017, that was actually the most joyous I'd been in a while, because there's so much opportunity that you're chasing that all you see is upside. It's like, shoot, like I've been in the gutter, I've been down, right? So there's only upside that you see. And to me, when it gets more tough is when things start happening. As things start happening. Yes, you're right. He couldn't let Ben Hogan outdo him. You see things going smoothly, right? Calendar starts to get full pretty steadily, right? Those deals start to come in, right? The stuff start to get more steady, and you start to say, man, I don't have to work today. And that's kind of what you work for, right? but actually you want to be. That's why you hear a lot of people, they dissolve a whole business and they start from scratch. And you're like, why would you do that? CEOs leave companies and they're just like, yeah, I decided to, just start over. Right? It's because it's that work ethic that you miss. It's actually being down at the bottom with everyone else. And not saying people are at the bottom, but it's actually being down in the trenches with everyone else, right? That gets you fueled. And that's probably why you see me continuously jumping on these calls. Is I'm jumping on these calls because I want to be with people. I want to be in alignment. I want to be in the trenches. I'm like, man, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Right. So if I'm not doing that with people, what's to say a lot of times that people are going to want to do it for themselves, especially if you're a leader in your community. Lead by example, lead by action, right? If you say that a person should do X, Y, and Z, hopefully you have done it before, you've been through it before, or you're continuously showing that you are in the trenches and doing it. That's just me personally, right? So put a 3 in the chat if you're receiving this. And then we're rounding out towards the end here. We're rounding out towards the end. Rounding out towards the end. Put a 3 in the chat if you're receiving this. I appreciate everyone for being here. What's going on, James? Let's go over our economy really quick because it's getting crazy up in here. Okay, getting crazy, getting crazy. All right. Let me see if I can share. Actually, I'm gonna keep my face on here. I'm gonna keep my face on here, and I want to let people know a couple of things is going on. Okay. From simplicity purposes, and if this recording is going absolutely correct, hopefully it is, you can hear me. Our economy right now is in a pretty good place. We're still in a bullish market, okay? Still in an overall bullish market, and the market's up tremendously in the last month and a half. So we're up roughly about 20, shoot. I have to do the math here. Golly. From the beginning of the year, okay, the S&P 500 is up roughly almost 9%. Okay. 8.5, 9% in a month and a half. Okay. So we're in a bullish market. We had some news on Wednesday talking about CPI data, consumer price index data. Okay. That is showing exactly how our consumer prices are going. So our rent, our gas, our groceries, retail sales we had today. So it showed that retail sales are on the high. That means that people are still spending and spending. But the problem with that spending is people are making money, right? Like you may not see it, but people are making money in their markets. They're looking at their 401ks, they're looking at their accounts, their brokerages that they've been saving and whatnot. If they've got a little crypto, they're looking at their crypto portfolio. They're like, I'm up. Right. But also there's a debt disparity as well, right? Like that more things as inflation has it continued to increase and also slow. We also have people that are, in some credit card debt. This is what it is, whether it be business credit card debt, personal credit card debt, whatever it is, they just got some debt, right? Homes, right? It just is what it is, right? And if you don't have any, that's awesome, right? But the cost of spending and living has still increased, right? So we're looking and saying, well, what's the next step, right? What's coming next? Are we going to get rate cuts, right? And what happened recently, yesterday, there was a sentiment from a Federal Reserve president out of Chicago that was talking about, hey, that CPI data, I know it was bad, but what we're seeing is that we don't we don't think that that's going to be a big pivotal thing that we're going to consider potentially at our next FOMC meeting, which is going to be in March. So that was good data, right? That everyone was a little fearful, like CPI, dang, like inflation going up. There's going to be rate cuts. What's going to happen, right? And then the Federal Reserve presidents came back from various cities around the country and said, hey, like, hold on, we're still trucking. We haven't done anything, right, just yet. But what's on the horizon is we've got two things. We've got two battles happening here. We've got the degen battle, right, which is the crypto market that's in a bull run heading into our Bitcoin halving, which we've been talking about since last year, revving up. All right. So Bitcoin touched over 53,000. It touched today. I haven't checked it right now where it is, but we got 52,500 up to 53,000. It's holding over 50 grand right now. This time last year, Bitcoin was revving up yet again, and it was roughly around that 15, and it went up to about 20 grand. right? So we've seen a 100% increase, right? Almost 200% increase in Bitcoin in a year, right? And we're heading into the halving coming up. The halving, if you don't know, look it up. Just say that. Okay, just look it up. I'm not going to go into too much depth, but just know that when the halving comes every 4 years, there's typically a significant bull run in crypto. Okay. So that means the Bitcoin mining companies, Mara, Riot, CleanSpark. I want to thank a couple of our community members in here, James and some other folks in here. What's going on, Jalen and Eugene and Ben, who just joined us recently. Like we've been chatting around, and Peggy as well, everyone in here. But we've been chatting around this for a while, and we've been notifying people. So if you've been in this community, you have access to some of the channels, even if you aren't on our higher levels, you have access to some of the information channels, right? Such as just the finance news channel, some of the crypto channels, various other channels in here. Just make sure you're checking those because we are updating the community what's going on, right? So you're aware so we don't miss out, right? What did I say earlier? A lot of times we're ignorant. Ignorance just simply means I don't know. You don't have the information. So let's not be ignorant this year and the years to come about what's coming. So that fear of missing out, there's always going to be things that we're missing out on, but getting in the game is so important in whatever it is that you're doing and having risk management for whatever it is. Hey, there's going to be a risk. Is the reward better than the risk? Okay, cool. I'm willing to have that small amount of risk for a big, big reward because there's going to be risk with whatever business, leaving your W-2, crypto, investing into coaches and consultants or starting a new venture or trying something new. There's going to be a risk, right? So that is the economic update, okay, for my people that are in the trading floor or that sector, okay? What I'm looking at is I've got let me actually share my screen really quick. Is everyone good with that just for a second? Let me check in with everybody. Is everyone like that I'm going over this piece right here? Are you intrigued? Whether you're new, you don't know what's going on, put a 5 in the chat if you're intrigued, and you want me to just kind of share the screen a little bit to show you exactly what's going on. Okay, cool. Because this impacts, this is not just about trading, everybody. I want to remind people about that. Like that, this is long-term vision gain. This is our economy. We're heading into an election year. And that's why I included that section in our community. So the trading gurus and the people out there, like that's not who I am. I'm including a skill set that I've had for a while that I said, hey, this might be important heading into a couple of things that we could head into a pretty significant bull run, right? Where people are always looking for how do I compound my money? How do I miss that? Like, why didn't I had $1,000 back then or whatever it might have been, right? Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. Share my screen. All right. Screen, window. All right. So everyone can see my screen. I know it looks like a lot here. Okay. But what you can see here is that overall, this shows the S&P 500, right? Or SPY, the ETF of the S&P 500. It shows that we are significantly bullish. I mean, look at this. This is back here in October of last year, right? So if we raise that up there and we look at that little, the 109 days in that bar that you see, I know it looks a little small there, but that says 23% increase in the market in simply, what is that? 4 months, 3 months, 4 months roughly since October of last year, about 4 or 5 months. Okay. And what I have here is how we know that we are continuously bullish. As I told people in our watch list this morning, that be mindful that we are still substantially bullish here and that the news is not yet defined yet. So if you look here, there are 2 bars here, the blue bars that are showing a nice trend channel. Okay. Nice trend channel on our S&P. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're approaching a level of resistance here. Again, look what happened last time we got up here, we dropped, right? But look at this trend line. This trend line, we could still come all the way up here. What is that? I said, everyone, we may go, if we just run and the news is good, who knows? Like we could run way up here into 505, 506. right? But we're sitting at a very heavy resistance zone. We could look at this whole zone as just red, okay? So until otherwise, we're bullish, but just be mindful that we are at a significant overextension, but the market just doesn't make sense a lot of times. And until it gives us any other news, right? The risk to reward is definitely on the downside at this point. So if you've been seeing some of the wins and whatnot, the risk to reward is still on the downside as we continue to push higher here. Okay, our fear and greed index back up into extreme fear, extreme greed. Okay, so sitting in extreme greed, and what's going to happen sooner or later is we're already seeing that money is going to start transferring into other sectors. Okay, we're already seeing it with crypto. If you look at crypto here and Bitcoin, okay, you see here Bitcoin. Look at this chart, right? Just absolutely bullish. This was expected. Okay, so you see that overall chart there for Bitcoin. All right. So we crossed 50K, got above that 40K mark. And then now we start holding above 50K. It might just consolidate. And as long as you see above 50K, we might just press and press and press and press potentially. Right. Everyone knows, if you're savvy, that the Bitcoin halving is coming. Here's the last Bitcoin halving, the year after 2020 into 2021. Went from 10,000 all the way up to 64. Now look at this preparation right before the halving. We're at 38,000. So who's to say we don't go all the way up here to 70, 80, 90, potentially 100. So when you hear those 100,000 Bitcoin sentiment, it's possible, because many people are looking at charts, and charts don't lie, right? It just aligns with the news, right? So it is an extension. I can see people maybe taking some profits before tax season, right? Maybe taking a little bit of profit before taxes in April, and then revving up for the halving coming soon. So there we go. Any questions on that? Thoughts on that? Clean Spark, Mara, Riot, all these we've been talking about for a while. Appreciate James for always being informative and putting in the chat about this. We've been talking about these things for a while. These are the mining companies: Mara, Riot, Clean Spark, right? So those are substantially cheaper. Bitfarms as well is another one, right? You can see the chart on Bitfarms. So I would say Bitfarms, Clean Spark, Mara, Riot, right? Those are Cypher. These are all in the crypto sector. So what we're going to start seeing is we're going to start seeing money flowing out from big tech, in my opinion, right? That have run up tremendously and start moving into different sectors. Okay. So there's my general sentiment. I don't want to make it too long about, what's going on. Tesla. Okay. Tesla made a nice recovery. We kind of called that today. A little bit of FOMO on it, but we definitely made some money on Tesla. And Tesla is probably going to be at 206 if we continue to run tomorrow. People are just kind of taking their profits, and then we'll bounce and then run maybe to 200, 206. It wants to go now to 206 easily. Okay. So cool. I won't make that too long. We'll stop share there. All right. Stop streaming. Did that help everybody? Did that help everybody? A little information. Cool. Awesome. 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 Any final questions for anybody? Any thoughts? Appreciate you staying with me. I love this new setup. It looks absolutely dope. I'm not gonna lie, it looks absolutely dope. Let me turn the tunes on really quick. Love the video. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's let me turn on these tunes. Let's get up out of here. Let's get up out of here. All right. Any final questions for anybody? Any thoughts? Right at time. All right. Cool. Well, peace, love, and blessings to you. Thank you so much. If this video worked and the recording worked and it posts on YouTube, make sure you give this video a like and share it out with anybody. I appreciate the love. And if always, if I can help you further, whether it's mentorship, mastermind, coaching, one-on-one, if you want to move up levels or you want something very bespoke in here, right? I do have people that reach out and say, hey, you know, is there anything that I can do for a month or 2 months or 3 months, or I just need a little bit more guidance closer, right? So let me know that. Tyrone, let's set up our, I think we're doing on Saturday. And for everybody else, thank y'all so much. Any final thoughts, questions, concerns? Make sure I went over everything. I think we're good. I think we're good. Awesome. Peace, love, and blessings. I'm going to do an aftermarket analysis right after this. So if you want to join that, that's cool. Other than that, talk to y'all soon. Peace.
No cell, so no trace, and you just a phone call away. So all I gotta say is, if I can go, I pack my things soon as you say, baby, bumble. Like there is no tomorrow. If I can go, I tell my friends nothing at all. I get my things, say what you say.
How you doing, ma? This your song, ma. Yeah, come on, ma. This your song, ma. We could get it on, ma. This your song, ma. This your song, ma. This your song. How you doing, ma? Yeah, come here. Where you going, ma? What's up? You in the rush? What's going on, ma? You can keep going, ma. But in this full world, you gonna need a man.